There were people in Israel in public right after October 7th, which clearly was committed by Hamas and was clearly terrible. I agree with that. Want to be clear. But there were a bunch of people, including people I knew, who said, wait a second, this couldn't have happened if the government of Israel had really tried to prevent it. Okay, so there's something very strange about the ability of Hamas fighters on motorbikes and gliders and on foot coming across the most heavily guarded border in the world, and the delay in the response of the IDF to this. And it's almost forbidden to say that, as you know, in the United States. But tell me what people you spoke to in Israel now believe about that attack.
In any event, I think there were a lot of people who felt that a proper investigation into what Netanyahu knew about the possible impending attack by Hamas should be commenced. However, that got rolled under the carpet because of the fact that he's now in a war with Hamas. But I think there was a lot of talk about how much and what advance warning Netanyahu may have had about the October 7th attacks. I've never seen, prima facie evidence of that fact, but there's certainly a lot of talk about it in Israel.
Okay, so it's not just crazy people on the internet who think it's possible or likely that Benjamin Netanyahu knew this was coming, had some sense it was coming, didn't do his best to prevent the damage within Israel because he was in this politically tough spot and the ensuing war would take the attention off him and allow him a pass on the charges.
I personally think it may be a bit too cynical to think that he literally engendered an attack in order to be able to counterattack. But I do think that he had deluded himself, in part because he thought of the world as a series of deals. He had deluded himself into the idea that he had manipulated Hamas, and all the money that was flowing to Hamas wasn't going to go to weapons and preparing an attack. That he could control the height of the flames by the introduction of money. He says, keep your friends close and your enemies closer, as if he was the Don and sort of able to manipulate events, but he clearly was not able to.
That seems like a smart interpretation to me. Of course, I don't know, but that sounds plausible, entirely plausible.